Welcome, everyone, to episode 8 of Sports Talk with Coach Swanky. I'm your coach, Kevin Swanky, Lloydminster product, Lloydminster born. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit of MLB, change up for once in a while, review the UFC 152 card, talk a little bit NHL, picks of the week as always, and the NFL. Big news, the refs are back. But first, we talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. The baseball season, we're less than a week away from the postseason to start. That's the best part about baseball is this week and the postseason. Other than that, it's just boring. 162 games is a long season. It is America's pastime. I'm Canadian, so it doesn't really affect me that much. I'm not a big guy on the whole American baseball. I don't get there sitting. I can't sit through a baseball game for 9 innings. I can see some people, but I'm not that guy. I can watch maybe 3 innings at a time. The first 3 innings and the last 3 innings. 4, 5, 6. Don't put me in there. But the reason this is so interesting right now is because of the extra wild card that has been in place this year for the extra playoffs. If you didn't know, it used to be a 4-team system where the division winners from each division in each league, so from the AL and NL, so the AL East, AL Central, and the AL West, and there would be one AL wild card, those 4 teams, and then opposite side with the NL, NL East, NL West, NL Central, and NL wild card. Well, now they've added another wild card berth, and the 2 wild card teams play off, and then they play one of the other teams as they move on. So as I said, this makes it more interesting. Also, the division races are so close this year, it's going to come down to like the last day of the regular season to decide who's going to win this. Right now, there's 4 interesting races, all 3 AL East, all AL ones. The AL East, the Yankees and Orioles are so tight. They've been battling back and forth for this past month. The Yankees are up by a game and a half, and that's going to continue throughout the whole rest of the regular season. It's going to be a tight race between the O's and the Yanks. The AL Central, the Tigers and the White Sox, as I'm recording this video, the Tigers are up by a game and a half. The Chicago White Sox are to be playing tonight. That one's another one. It's going to come down to the wire. Chicago's got a good team to a point, and Detroit's got an all-star team, but is kind of not exceeded to expectations. The AL West, the Texas Rangers are 3 games up on Oakland. Oakland is starting to fall back a little bit, and with under 6 games to play now, or under 7 games to play, Texas is going to take this division. It's not really that big of a deal, but it's still up for grabs. And the last one is the NL East. The Washington Nationals are 4 games up on the Atlanta Braves. Both these teams have clinched a playoff spot. It's just a matter of who gets what. If one's playing for the wild card, one plays is the division winner and will be in the divisional series. Look for the Nationals to win this division. They're a good team this year. Even though they have shut down Steven Strasburg, the Nationals are a team to be reckoning with in the NL. The other divisions I haven't mentioned, the NL West, the San Francisco Giants have locked that up already, and the NL Central, the Cincinnati Reds are like 15 games or 12 games up on St. Louis, so that's done already. Those 2 teams will be in the playoffs for sure. And then we get to the wild card, and the wild card is interesting. Because of this extra wild card, we're actually getting some interesting things going on. So the O's are in first place right now. They're a game and a half back of the Yanks for the East, but on top of the wild card right now. So right now they have a playoff spot. If they beat the Yankees out, the Yankees fall back to the wild card. So that's an interesting thing that'll be going on all year. The O's should make the playoffs unless they have some major disaster in this last week, but I don't see that happening. The other team is the Oakland A's. Oakland seems to keep losing and losing and losing. They're really starting to fall back a little bit right now. They used to be on top of this wild card standing, and now they're the second wild card. Right now they're positioned to make the playoffs, but there's a team coming up, and they will probably make the playoffs, and that's the LA Angels. The Angels are starting to hit their stride. Jarrett Weaver's a master. We got Pujols starting to hit. Mike Trout's been a beauty all year. AL, they have the best pitching staff in the AL with Weaver, C.J. Wilson, Zach Greinke, who pitched 13 strikeouts in 5 and a third innings. That's ridiculous. 16 guys, he sat down 12 or 13 of them. That's ridiculous. So there you've got the good pitching staff, and then you got the Rays, who are 3 games back of the A's, and that's probably not going to happen. The Rays are on the outside looking in, but they still have a chance. In the NL, like I said, the Braves have already clinched this playoff spot, so it doesn't really matter where they fall. They're going to make the playoffs right now. Then you get to the Cardinals. The Cardinals are holding on to the spot right now, but it's going to come close. It's going to come down to the wire. They got the Brewers, who are 3.5 games back. The Dodgers, who are also 3.5 games back. The Phillies, who are 5.5, and the D-backs, who are 5.5. The reason it's the half game is because St. Louis has 6 games remaining. All these other teams have 7 games remaining. So look for these teams to make some movement today, this Thursday right now, and then make some movement. Coming Friday, you'll know more about this. Right now, I have no clue what's going on, other than what I know already. So, yeah. The MLB wild card picture is going to come crazy. It's going to come down to the wire. Look out for the MLB. The MLB playoffs are going to be awesome like they usually are. Last year was amazing with the St. Louis and Texas World Series. I know I'll be watching bits and pieces and stuff. I won't be watching all of it, but I still love watching baseball from once in a while, and I love watching baseball highlights. So, like I said, looking forward to the MLB week this week. You should be too. MLB is the best. This is the best time to part with MLB if you don't like watching regular season stuff from May to now. So this is the best part. Get watching some MLB. So UFC 152 went down this past weekend. Johnny Bones Jones defeated Vitor Belfort in the 4th round by a submission hold. It won submission of the night. Jones almost lost his fight. First round, Vitor caught him in an armbar. Jones said he heard something pop. So he almost tapped, but him being the champion, had to push through it. He did a great job doing it, and he beat Belfort down for the rest of the rounds, for the rest of the fight. If this would have went to decision, which I really hoped it didn't, and it didn't, so that's a good thing, Jones would have easily won this fight by unanimous decision, maybe taking it 50-45, more than likely a 49-46 score. Yeah, it was a close fight. Jones won submission of the night. Congrats to John Jones. He'll probably face the winner of Shogun Rua and Lyoto Machida. Dan Henderson. That will be a good fight in December. Those 2 guys will go off, and they'll face John Jones sometime in the early of 2013. Also, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson became the first ever flyweight champion, beating Joseph Benavidez by split decision. This was a close fight. I was actually quite entertained with this fight. I love this flyweight division. It's really entertaining. It's fast paced. They can throw punches like nothing. I love this division right now. A lot of people are saying this was a boring fight. I didn't see that. I actually enjoyed this fight. It was very entertaining. It went to split decision, so it's not what everyone's looking for with the knockout power or a submission or something like that. I could watch these guys fight for 10 rounds if they could go for that long. I would watch this fight. It's good stuff to see. Me and my friends, we were joking a little bit, saying like, "Oh, holy! Like these guys are only like 5'2", 5'3". I'm 6'1", 6'2", almost 6'3". So, it's ridiculous to think these guys are a foot shorter than me, and they're fighting in the UFC. So we were making pits that they should be fighting in a sand pit with a referee. They should be going to Chuck E. Cheese's and fighting in the ball pit. Just little jokes like that. These guys are small, but they put on entertaining fights. I don't know what everyone was complaining about this being a bad fight. I've been hearing so many people saying this was boring and stuff like that. That was a really good fight. I really enjoyed all 5 rounds. Michael Bisping beat Brian Stan with a unanimous decision. Bisping beat down Stan for all 3 rounds. It was a good fight. Stan put up some offense a little bit, but Michael Bisping did end up winning. He proved that this was not going to be a Dan Henderson KO from UFC 100. Bisping used his wrestling and totally dominated Stan. Bisping will probably face maybe Anderson Silva, but I see him more facing the winner of Tim Boetsch and Chris Weidman. That's going to be the fight that's going to set up, because we could be seeing that super fight between GSP and Anderson Silva. Matt Hamill also beat Roger Hollett. I don't know what is. Either way, this fight was boring. Hamill won by unanimous decision. It was just boring 3 rounds. I was at BP's. I watched these fights at BP's, and I ate the whole time. I didn't even bother watching this fight. Matt Hamill bores me. I got the fight right by predicting, but it was just a boring ass fight. Cub Swanson beat Charles Oliveira with a KO in the first round. Swanson kind of caught Oliveira around this area, and Oliveira kind of backed off a bit. Then he grabbed his head and fell. It's kind of sweet to watch. The knockout was nice, and I ended up winning knockout of the night. Cub Swanson is another top bantamweight in this division, and I could see him being a contender for Barao or Dominic Cruz, Dominic Cruz, whoever wins up in that fight. And the best fight of the night went to an undercard fight between Evan Dunham and TJ Grant, the Canadian TJ Grant. This was a great bloody fight. Went to unanimous decision, which Grant won. It's one fight of the night, like I said. It was bloody. Dunham had a 6-inch gash on his forehead that Grant created. Great all-around fight. These guys put on a show in the prelims, and that's what the prelims are really starting to do. They're really starting to outshine the actual pay-per-view card. So if you ever get the chance, watch the prelims. They will never disappoint you. UFC 152, probably one of the better cards that have been going down this year since all these injuries caught up. This one was one of those ones that the injuries didn't really catch up with, other than Rory McDonald was supposed to face BJ Penn. That move got moved, but we still got a great card. It kind of helped out with the whole John Jones canceling with 151, but this was a great card. I hope you guys watched it. I watched it. I enjoyed it. Great card, UFC 152. So we got a little bit of NHL talk, or should I say Oiler talk. As you see, I'm a Flames fan. But this is kind of an interesting thing with this whole Edmonton Oiler thing. First off, Neil Yakupov, he's been playing in the KHL for a little bit here, been practicing with his hometown team, but he got kicked out of the KHL. Why? Because Hockey Canada didn't sign his papers correctly, and Hockey Canada can't sign those papers until Yakupov is officially released from his OHL team, the Sarnia Sting. The Sting don't really want to release Yakupov now that the lockout's on. If you can bring a name like the first overall pick in the NHL draft and have him play on your top line in your OHL team, you're going to want that. You want to make some money. I don't blame the Sarnia Sting, but if you're an Oilers fan, you want Yakupov in the KHL. The KHL, though a lower ranked league, as you see, as some of the highlights that have come across TSN, Nikolai Zherdev is scoring ridiculous goals. Rick Nash and Joe Thornton are going off. Yeah, it's straight ridiculous in the KHL. These NHL guys are lighting up these KHL guys that look like fucking automobiles. Like they're from NASCAR with these jerseys. But yeah, Neil Yakupov, they want him in the KHL. Tougher competition than OHL. You don't want him to keep going on and scoring 140 points in the fucking OHL. You want him going up against tough competition in the KHL. That's what you want if you're an Oilers fan. It's what you need as an Oilers fan. You don't want to see him with the Sarnia Sting. But who says they're going to be the Oilers? This week, during the whole Monday night game between the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks, the Edmonton Oil ownership group was down in Seattle, and they were having talks with the Seattle Commission Board for this new arena that's going down in Seattle that everyone's excited about. It's a brand new arena. Everyone's pumped. They think they might be getting the Seattle Supersonics back. And who knows? I guess they might be getting an NHL team because Daryl Cates, he wants his own arena in downtown Edmonton. He originally put it as $450 million. Now he wants $540 million, and he wants the city of Edmonton to pay for those costs. Well, what did Daryl Cates ain't going to get his money? Well, let's just take my Edmonton Oilers to the Seattle and maybe rename him. Take this team that's starting to look better. All they need is a goaltender now, and take it away from the city of Edmonton. That's a fucking bitch move by Daryl Cates. He's trying to put Edmonton in the stranglehold. It's just wrong. This owner is going to get his way. He's going to get $90 million. If there's one thing he's going to win at, because he's not going to be able to end this lockout because the players are going to be the ultimate ones that are going to make the owner sign this deal, not the owner not the player signing the owner's deal. It's going to be the owner signing the player. So if Daryl Cates wants to win for once, he's going to have to make Edmonton in the stranglehold. That's what he's doing. Edmonton, they're going to stay the Oilers, but this is a bitch move by Cates. It's putting Edmonton in a stranglehold. That's just not a good thing. So before I get to my picks of the week, we're going to talk a little bit of NFL Week 3. Another great week in the NFL. I don't know why I'm enjoying the NFL season so much. Maybe because I'm going out and watching the games with a few of my buddies. Maybe because I'm more entranced with my fantasy football this year. But I love the NFL this year. So far, the first 3 weeks, they've been average kind of thing with all the reffing and stuff. But now that the refs are back, we can actually get to actual football. It's the official start to the NFL season now, even though there has been 3 weeks to the regular season, but whatever. The Houston Texans, they are the top team in the AFC. They beat the Denver Broncos on Sunday. They're the team to beat. I picked them to be my Super Bowl champions, and they're going to continue to dominate. They're going to have an easy regular season for the rest of the year. They're in the easiest division in the AFC. They're going to have an easy division spot. They'll get first or second in the AFC more than likely. You're going to have an AFC champion Houston Texans team unless they get hit a couple road bumps. Don't see that happening. This defense is too good. Matt Schaub, even though now missing part of his ear, will continue to dominate. All he needs to do is pass the ball every once in a while when Arian Foster doesn't get the first down. So Matt Schaub to Andre Johnson is a great combination. Also him to Kevin Walter. Both guys are great combination. The Atlanta Falcons are now the team to beat in the NFC. Matty Ice is throwing bombs like nothing. He is the new MVP candidate, a lot of people are saying. The Atlanta Falcons, with this high-powered offense and a great defense, they are a team to beat in the NFC now due to the Minnesota Vikings beating the San Francisco 49ers. At home, San Francisco lost in Minnesota. They went from the West Coast to the East Coast, and they played at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. It's 10 o'clock San Francisco time. They're going to blame it on that, but really, you're out there playing the game of football. Don't blame it on some road trip or shit like that. You're there to playing football. You need to play your style of football. Go out, dominate, play your game. Your football players, not some guys that bitch about going East Coast to West Coast. You ain't no sissy bitches. Arizona Cardinals, they're 3-0. Where did this team come from? Week 1, they barely beat Seattle. Week 2, barely beat New England on a missed field goal. Week 3, dominated Philadelphia. Philadelphia got thrown around like a rag doll. They got beaten by 21 points. They actually showed what kind of team they are after beating the Browns by 1 point, after beating the Ravens by 1 point. Now they actually lost by 21 points. Kevin Cobb somehow lit it up. This defense looked good. It's going to be a good season for the Arizona Cardinals. So we had 3 overtime games this week as well. The Kansas City Chiefs sent the Saints to an 0-3 record. The Saints are just a bad team right now. This Bounty Gate thing totally destroyed them. Sean Payton's going to come back next year and rebuild this team. This team is not looking great as it is right now. The New York Jets went over the Miami Dolphins, but in that same game, they lost Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis is that corner on that side, Revis Island. You can't throw when your top receiver is up against Darrelle Revis. It's just a bad idea for anyone to throw against that guy. He's a dominant force on that corner, and it's a scary thing to throw against that dude. Darrelle Revis, gone for the rest of the season. The New York Jets are going to be a terrible team without him. This defense needs him. Not overly needs him, but it's a big part of their defense to have that shutdown corner. Also, with the whole team Tebow thing, the Jets are going to start going downhill quite fast. And then the Tennessee Titans beat the Detroit Lions. It was a bad call by Detroit at the very end there. They tried to draw Tennessee offside. They couldn't, so they tried to sneak it off to the side. Sean Hill got nowhere on that one since Matthew Stafford went down with an injury. Yeah, bad call. Totally bad call by the head coach, and it's going to cost him. They're 1-2 now. But during that same game, we also got to see the Music City Miracle reenacted. Back in 2000, Steve McNair was still the quarterback for the Titans. Titans made the Music City Miracle, as it's been known now. During the end of the game, they got a punt return. One of the punt returner passed it over to the lateraled it over to another guy, and that lateral guy ran it all the way down to the end zone. Got the exact same thing. Wasn't at the end of the game this time. Somewhere in the first quarter it happened, and exactly the same thing. Punt returner caught it, lateral led back, and the lateral guy ran it all the way down to the end zone. Great play, great reenactment. Great to see that kind of football history being reenacted. So, now that you look at it, Saints 0-3, Steelers 1-2, Detroit 1-2, New England's 1-2, and Green Bay's 1-2. We get a 1-11 or 4-11 record between those 5 teams. That's straight crazy. Those teams are supposed to be the top teams in the NFL, and they're 4-11. Straight crazy number. The only reason that, but if you look at it, this could be better, because the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens, the replacement refs, again, this is the replacement refs. I'm so glad they're gone. The NFL refs finally signed a deal. The lockout is over. They're back in the Thursday night game tonight and will be back for the rest of the season. Thank Jesus. Thank everybody. I know my friend Alex Delarme, Ridiculous 5, he's going to say something about me praising Jesus, but praise Jesus, the NFL refs are back. In that game, close back and forth game, great game, ended with a field goal that went right over the upright. That's still a good field goal, but it was so close. Bill Belichick wanted a review, didn't get it, so he grabbed the ref. You never do that. You don't grab the refs. Everyone knows that. Got fined for it. Got a pretty big, hefty fine for it. But it was so close that it was... You want to review it. You want at least an explanation of what happened. One guy said it was good. The other guy said it wasn't. So which one was it? They ended up saying it was good, but why was it good? That's all Belichick wanted. I don't blame him for grabbing the ref, but you just don't do that. You got to make sure you keep your anger in check. It's just wrong to grab a ref. So, on that note, the other thing that happened in that game, replacement refs, again, we had John Harbaugh, no, not John, maybe, one of the Harbaugh brothers, the Harbaugh brother that coaches the Baltimore Ravens. He was trying to call a timeout, and the ref thought he was saying something bad to him. So he gave him a 15-yard penalty for it, and yeah, it was just for Harbaugh calling a timeout. That's straight bullshit, and like I said, it was straight bullshit, and the best thing about that, the Ravens crowd that night, they chanted bullshit as loud as I ever heard. It was so nice. It was boom, boom, bullshit, boom, boom, bullshit. Great chant. Straight. It was awesome. That was a great chant by those fans. I love to hear that stuff. That's what makes football awesome. And the Packers and Seahawks. If you did not watch this game, you won't understand why the replacement refs needed to go after this week. It was stupid. End of the game, I'm watching at the brew house with a bunch of our buddies, and end of the game, Russell Wilson snaps the ball, he rolls out. Seattle's down by 5 points here. So they go back, he chucks it long. Golden Tate pushes one of the guys out, so that should be a flag right there. And then R.D. Jennings comes down with it, and somehow Golden Tate gets his arms around it somehow. So it was a simultaneous catch, even though it really wasn't, because Jennings was down on the ground by the time Golden Tate has arms around it. And one guy called it a touchdown, the other guy called it off, saying it was an interception. So they called it a touchdown. Seattle won. Green Bay's pissed. I don't blame them for being pissed. That was a terrible call. Everyone in the bar that I was at was going crazy. Like, how the hell did that happen? How the hell did the Seahawks win? There was a few Seahawks fans, so they're all pumped, but very few. Packers fans were just straight pissed. I don't blame them. The Green Bay Packers should have won this game. The replacement refs needed to go, and they finally did. We have an agreement. The NFL refs are back. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, NFL refs. Welcome back. So, my picks of the week. Last week was a terrible week for me. I went 0-4. I'm really sorry for anyone that used my picks to try and get some money off it. I'm sorry. This week, it's going to be better. So, first, my sleeper pick. Minnesota over Detroit. If Sean Hill does start for the Detroit Lions, even if he doesn't, Matthew Stafford will still be nagging with that injury. Minnesota's on a roll right now. They've got Adrian Peterson is rolling. Christian Ponder looks like a legit QB now after last year. This is going to be a sleeper pick, Minnesota over Detroit. In the CFL, we got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will go over the Toronto Argonauts. Same reason. Ricky Ray went down with an injury last week. Jarius Jackson will be coming in. Winnipeg finally got Buck Pierce back. They rolled over Hamilton last week. Look for that to continue. Winnipeg winning 2 straight, something nobody thought would be coming to see. Silver pick, the Green Bay Packers over the New Orleans Saints. The Saints will be going 0-4. Green Bay Packers, they're going to be pissed over the Monday night stuff. Green Bay over New Orleans. Green Bay is going to be pissed. They're looking out for revenge. NFL refs are back. Everyone's going to be shaking those guys' hands. Finally and lastly, my gold pick, the Houston Texans will beat the Tennessee Titans. Jake Locker kind of went off last week, but he played a subpar secondary in Detroit. So now he plays the Texans secondary, which is top-notch. That defense is top-notch. Houston wins big, covers the spread. Houston over Tennessee. Well, that's the end of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Please if you like this video, leave a comment down below on the whole Oiler thing. If you are an Oilers fan and you're pissed about this, leave the comment down below. Your picks, if you have any picks, leave those down below. What you think of the MLB races, leave that down below. Just leave a comment down below. I love to hear your guys' suggestions. Please subscribe to my channel, Coach Swankmeister. I'll be putting out videos every week, and there will be changes coming soon. I promise you that. This is Swankmaster out.